Scare me, slow beef.
Okay. Tonight's episode. Sally.EXE. I'm a big fan of the Sonic the Hedgehog series, like a lot of people.
Okay, here we go.
It's already the...
Yeah, I kind of know where it's going. All right.
I narrowed down the class... Wait, I'm sorry. I narrowed down to the classic Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon shows, though, because I think the rest Sega had spawned was rat crap. Each to their own. To their own. I don't think each to their own is whatever. I was browsing.
So the person who wrote this wrote it after the horrifying thing happened, right?
I don't know.
And so they begin by let me criticize the Sonic series first, before I tell you about my harrowing experience. Priorities.
I was browsing. Hey.
Sorry.
I was browsing eBay the other day. I wondered if there would be any items about my favorite character from the series, Sally.EXE.
People do not talk like this.
Indeed, what I found was a plushie that was manufactured in Sega World of Sydney.
Indeed.
Which closed down due to the lack of visitors in 2006. Thanks for the backstory, I guess. Those, in case you were reading this, like, wait, what happened in the world?
Thank you for tying up all the loose ends for me.
Those Sally plushies were very rare, but I didn't have the money to buy her, and my parents would despise me for it.
Whoa!
All right. I examined the plushie for a while as the article came with pictures. This Sally even had her jacket. On it was written with a permanent marker. Sorry, all right. Mm-hmm. On it was written with a permanent marker, God. I don't really know what it meant. Probably the initials of the child owning her before they sold her.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, sure, God.
Mm-hmm. It's most likely.
George or William. I clicked the back. Wait, what? Oh, I clicked the back button to return to the Sonic Sally search, knowing I wouldn't win the auction anyway, only to find another article had appeared.
The real horror is not winning the auction.
Oh God. Sonic Satam cartoon, all episodes. Huh? With the price of $1 on instant buy. Oh, Satam. It's like SAT, capital A, capital M. Satam DVDs were never released where I came from. Bummer.
Oh.
So as happy as I was, I wanted to rewatch the show and checked out the article. It had no description and no address where it came from. Germany, Canada, etc. Here are some examples.
No, please list all of them. Let me show off my knowledge of geography first.
Thank God for etc. We'd have been here.
Yeah, right. Transylvania.
It was missing, and the shipping price was stated to be free. I looked up at the photo of the article. It was a blank CD. I've decided to buy it anyway. Not just for the nostalgia, but the writing was great, and I loved Robotnik in this series. Unusual level of detail. Well, it all started when the mail arrived. It arrived the next morning. Oddly, it was Sunday. These are all punctuated with ellipses, by the way.
Something's wrong. The mail came the one day it's not supposed to come.
That's the most haunting part of all.
Wow. I can only suspend my disbelief so far. The post arriving on Sunday?
These horrific video games can get government doing even more work. Wow. I was happy to receive the episodes and immediately put the blank CD into my laptop, starting the DVD. Which is, you just said was a CD. Mm-hmm. Sadly, the DVD didn't start, but it offered me to show the files, so I opened the folder and saw a Sally.EXE application. I was confused at it being an EXE, but I started it anyway, and indeed, it was playing a Satam episode. The episode, quote, hooked on Sonic.EXE.
No.
Quote again. That's Sonic apostrophe S. Like, as in it's hooked on something Sonic possesses. Mm-hmm. The episode started out all normal, along with the intro. No blood or anything. Wait, what were you expecting?
What are you expecting? Where's my gory Sonic episode?
Maybe he knows you're reading a creepypasta, so he wants to defy your expectations. Like,
Yeah.
hold up.
I know this isn't your first rodeo, so...
No blood or anything. But the sad thing was that my computer blue screened when the kissing scene of Sonic and Sally started. Parentheses. When Sally walks over to Sonic and kisses his cheek, he calls her kiss not so good and grants her a better one. And it was so cute, too.
Is the writing in this cartoon always so bad?
The computer rebooted, and I took out the CD as I thought it malfunctioned and threw it away. What?
Huh?
I could have asked the person to give me my money back, but he can keep the $1 $1 I gave him. I mean, it's just $1.
That's Sonic currency.
The end. No, I continued to normally browse the internet, speak to friends on Skype and all.
A robot's writing this, right?
Nothing was wrong until when I was watching a random YouTube video. My cursor, the white arrow in case you don't know, started to completely spaz out. Why did he include the definition of a cursor in there? The computing tips while you're here. I disconnected my mouse, but the cursor started to thrash around the screen. I even deactivated my touchpad and it continued. Suddenly it came to a stop and I carried on, ignoring what had happened. Soon I found myself downloading a ROM for Sonic the Hedgehog. Fun game. As soon as it had downloaded...
Oh, it's a game review now.
See, like, all these ancillary sentences. As soon as it had downloaded, I started up my emulator and begun the game in windowed mode.
Mm-hmm.
But oddly, the complete screen went black. I shrugged it off and waited for the game to start. The familiar Sega jingle didn't sound.
Sally.
Well, it did, but it was slowed down so much it sounded demonic and it gave me a cringe.
A cringe.
How do we know if it wasn't the ROM, though?
Thank you for the kind cringe you have given me, sir. It was lovely.
The background remained black and Sonic didn't run past the logo. It faded to black and some text appeared. I first thought it was a red font, but it looked like it was scratched into my computer screen. Up for round 2. Oh no, is this another sequel to Sonic?
Is the voice still demonic?
No, well, that's scratched in his computer screen in blood, I think, that part. Or, I'm sorry, in red. I blinked and flinched as the main screen came on. The sky was a dark gray and the clouds looked dull and black, like right before a thunderstorm. The mountains were decayed, and so was the logo. It even looked partially rusted. I was amazed at the pixely detail, but it also scared me. Okay. Sega 1991 was now replaced with Sega 666, and the water was a bloody red.
Oh, there we go. There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
It took a while. It took a while this time, but...
Well, I was by before. He's like, it wasn't blood or anything.
Yeah.
3 paragraphs later, sucker punch.
The old bait and switch creepypasta.
The familiar music wasn't played either. It was just a 16-bit mess of sounds. The demonic Sega occasionally mixed in. Instead of Sonic showing up, 2 characters appeared next to the logo. Tails and Knuckles. The sight of them terrified even more. What? Tails' eyes were black, and they were bleeding. His fur had become a dull gray/black as well. I feel like I've read this exact sentence somewhere. And he had an expression of anguish on his face. Knuckles looked far worse. His red fur had darkened to a reddish gray. His dreadlocks were dripping with blood, and his eyes were black and bleeding like Tails, and he had a look of sadness on his face. Just then, I noticed a new character pop out of the middle of the logo. A pink, bubbly little hedgehog poked her head out. At first she was smiling, but them frowned at what was around her. She looked confused and nervous, like she didn't really know what was going on. Amy Rose, I thought. What is this all about? Curiosity drove me to press enter. A short yet loud static noise sounded and the screen faded. I wish I hadn't done so. Kyle didn't want to play with me. The writing appeared again. By the way, if you remember, Kyle was in Sonic.EXE.
Oh, of course, yeah.
What a shame, ... But I can play with you, ... End quote, open quote, ...
Oh.
Right? End quote.
Please?
That was very unclear. God, I got the demonic Sega jingle sounded again. As for a split second, an image flashed. It disappeared too fast, so I couldn't make it out. But I could swear I saw a red and black Sonic with black and red eye. Wait, a red and black Sonic with black and red eyes. I almost felt them pierce me, and that moment made me jump. It didn't begin in Green Hills Zone Act 1, though. I wish it did. What the fuck?
I just want to play Sonic, honestly.
Instead, the title card read, "Not Perfect Act 1."
What?
Was a game review within the game?
It sounds like.
The game begun. The ground looked like the normal Green Hills Zone, but the background was pitch black. Amy stood normally where Sonic would be in the original game. Surprisingly, that was a well-made sprite. It wasn't her I don't know. It wasn't her classic self, but her current self. It looked official, even. On the opposing side of this. Well, besides the pitch black background and then the
completely legit. Beyond that.
Yeah, totally. I couldn't even tell. A++. On the opposing side of the screen where Amy was at, there was a large silver ring. In front of the ring stood the sprite of Sonic with a smile on his face. The animation of Amy standing there was that she stared forward with a lovey-dovey expression as hearts came from her head here and there. I guess I should head to Sonic, I thought as I moved Amy towards Sonic, but Sonic ran away and jumped into the ring. I made Amy leap after him. The level teleported to one of those stages where you can get a Chaos Emerald. The background was pink with love hearts all over. It looked cute, but I was distracted by only having 4 red/white colored spheres to jump on, and I've tried to balance Amy on top of it.
The real problem was the game mechanics.
Seems like that. Bad level design is the real horror.
Just a thinly veiled critique.
I've tried to balance Amy on top of it as she desperately tried to keep onto of the spheres, but my controls slipped and Amy fell. I fell onto a wall of gold spheres. Just as I thought I'd teleport back, a loud shriek sounded, and the image of this demonic Sonic continued to flash over the screen. The screen completely spazzed out, and I heard shrieks. Loud shrieks, because from what I could swear, it was Amy Rolls herself. I kept hearing, "No! No!" and loud cries of agony and pain, which abruptly ended with more statics for a split moment before the screen cut to black. Jesus.
Okay, yeah.
Soon the title screen appeared again. Knuckles and Tails were missing, but instead Amy appeared. She was smiling her usual cute smile, but her body had holes. Sorry? Not bleeding holes or
those
bullet
cute
holes. Just holes that pierced her body all over. Her colors faded to a dull black and white. Even her eyes looked oddly disfigured.
So she's blending in with the background at this point?
I guess, well, this scared me so much, my entire body began to itch. that ever happened to you? What?
I don't think so. I think you just have a skin problem.
I scratched myself over and over as I watched a new character appear. I frowned upon seeing Cream, who had a sheer terrified expression and huddled against the logo for comfort. Poor Cream.
I know I do that too.
I wanted to quit the game, but as if forced, I hit start again and the screen faded.
Well, of course. Oh.
Kind and Fair, Act 1. It's like all one, there's no spaces. Except for Act 1, that looks fine. Just Kind and Fair is all caps and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The stage was blank now, and the background music was a drowned-sounding, slower version of the Green Hill Zone. It nearly made me gag, but something forced me to play. Oh, this terrible music! You kidding me? The stage began, and Cream's sprite was, like Amy's, very well done. The environment was childish. It looked like a cute cutout. In front of Cream was a TV box that gave you higher speed. I made Cream crouch down and do a spin dash, and I dashed ahead, crashing the box. The level didn't change. The ground was a solid platform, and it seemed Cream was going faster, 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 and she crashed more boxes. And more. And more. I noticed the music got completely out of sync, which scared me. Suddenly, Cream crashed into a wall of spikes. A loud splat sounded, which didn't even sound like it would belong in a 16-bit game. Poor Cream was torn to shreds. Blood dripped from the spikes and the bloodied rabbit as the background slowly began to melt in front of my eyes. And by the way, I think he thinks "in front" is one word, because it's always like that. The image flashed again, and soon the title screen appeared. As expected, I was back on the title screen, and Cream appeared with Amy. She did look scared, but her other eye was, how do I put it? Droopy and dead and bled a black goo. That wasn't even that hard.
That's pretty eloquent, yeah.
Yeah, serious.
Huh.
Her ears were over her face now, instead of the back of her head. Her color scheme changed from brown and orange to a very, very dark purple and red. Her dress was a dull gray. I'm for the third character. And God, did I want to cry and weep when I saw Sally Acorn pup out of that goddamn logo.
Pup out?
Putting up. Pup out.
Oh, she
like
became a puppy dog, yeah.
Putting on her innocent smile as she waved toward me, like she didn't know what torture would happen to her. The game was so terrifying and yet so fascinating. But I wanted to stop real bad, but my hand wouldn't budge. I even started shaking. I wanted to reach for the power button, turn the darn thing off, but my hand just wouldn't move, and before I knew it, I already hit start and the screen faded. Blank space, or I should say it's a bunch of underscores. Act 9, it said. A sad, dull melody played in the background as the silhouette of the ground, and a sprite silhouette that resembled Sally appeared in front of a background that consisted the whole group. What? Okay. Amy, Cream, Knuckles, Tails, and Robotnik appeared, all in their tortured forms with a saddened expression. It also had Sonic, but in a nearly unrecognizable way. He had a wide grin on his face with razor-sharp teeth. He had black eyes with red dots for pupils, which were bleeding.
Oh, yeah.
It looked like he would reach out to the silhouette in front of him. I tried to move Sally, get her out of there, but each wall wouldn't budge and Sally would do a pushing animation. I stopped in the middle as, to my horror, the stage began to shrink and the black started to close in on Sally. I tried moving again, but the walls wouldn't budge or move. I walked Sally back to the middle as the walls closed in on her. She crouched before she completely disappeared in the black. Splat! The red writing appeared on the screen again, only it was dripping like blood, and it was crooked. Sonic, my love. Suddenly, a familiar scene faded in. I recognized it immediately. Sonic Sadam was playing from where the CD cut off. It had a reddish shade, and Sonic had these black, bleeding, demonic eyes. Sally looked even worse, at least to me. Her eyes were missing. Yeah, I guess. It was like they were taken out and Sally's skull was sewed closed again. What?
So close?
Sewed. Like,
oh.
If you didn't know sewn was the past tense of sew. Sewed closed again. Blood was running from her wound. It didn't look Photoshop. It was actually it was actually animated.
This is real. This actually happened to me.
Sonic pulled Sally over like in the show. Only tentacle-like things bursted out of their mouths and locked, making disgusting slurping noises. I could even see them bulge in Sally's throat. Worst thing was that they looked like they were enjoying it. For a moment, I think I was too.
Hey!
What? Hey, wait a minute, what is this? I could see the corrupted Tails and Knuckles in the background too. Sonic pulled away.
And I think I like it.
Quote, so? Quote, not bad, Sally simply replied. I gagged and looked away from the screen. Out of the corner, I noticed something on my bed. On my bed was the Sally doll I saw on eBay. With its eyes missing. The end.
Were they bleeding?
No, they're missing. Oh, I
They
don't
were-
know. I mean,
they
maybe,
should have been bleeding anyway.
I would think that's just assumed
Yeah.
at that point. It's good to write. Less is more is the trick to writing.
More bleeding is more.
Wow. That was pretty great, so to speak.
So what did we learn from all this?
Well, you know, I know he blamed the CD, the blank CD he got from eBay, but it could have been the ROM. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah. What about that EXE?